This morning, the auto industry is busy gearing up for a major day ahead. Tomorrow is the start of the Los Angeles Auto Show, a 10-day event featuring 7 models that will make their world debuts. And this morning, we have a preview of what car makers will unveil. Earlier, I talked with the car coach, Lauren Fix. She is behind the scenes in LA right now. And I started our conversation by asking her if it's fair to say that this year's show in LA has something of a green tint to it.
Yeah, that would be a good way to put it. I mean, everyone's talking about green. The big conversation of the show is what are we going to do to replace fossil fuels? And there's a lot of technology. We usually just think, okay, maybe there's diesel or gas and electric, but believe it or not, there's some really great cars, including we get a first peek at the 2011 Chevy Volt, which we're told is going to come out by the end of next year. So it's finally nice to see that.
And I think California will be the first market to see that Chevy Volt once it makes its debut. What are the hiccups in your mind, Lauren, that are still out there regarding green cars, especially plug-in hybrids? Is it battery technology that hasn't yet caught up to where it needs to be?
Well, that's a big chunk of it. I think there's also what Bob Lutz defines as battery or range anxiety. You know, people are afraid if I get one of these cars, I don't want to be stuck on the side of the road. It's not like you can just say, I'll just go get a gallon of 5 kilowatts of power. You can't. You have to find a charging station. So that's something that a lot of the manufacturers are addressing, especially General Motors. They're concerned that if you buy a Chevy Volt, you don't want to get stuck in traffic when you run out of power. So there's actually a little 1-cylinder engine that'll be just enough to get you going so you can get to your next charging station. The other part is quick recharges. We're still not sure about that. Then we have to look at the recycled end of batteries, which has not been completely addressed at this time. But if you're looking at the Chevy Volt, you can see this is really going to be something special. No tailpipe emissions, and at the end of 2010, there's no pricing yet, but this is going to be a really hot property. They're going to take pre-orders very soon because they know that they're not going to be able to build enough quick enough.
I know that pricing is still up in the air to some degree. It looks like it could debut right around $40,000 in terms of a base price. But Lauren, that brings up a question. Should we skip the hybrid models altogether in your mind and go right into EVs, fully electric vehicles?
No, I don't think that the full country can handle that. Right now, it depends upon where you live. If you live in big cities like New York, DC, LA, Chicago, sure, you sit in a lot of traffic. But if you're in Omaha, Nebraska, Buffalo, New York, and some of these other small cities in Butte, Montana, it's not going to make sense to have a vehicle like that because many of those people would want something for hauling larger families, hauling a trailer. None of that's going to be possible with electric cars or even hybrid cars. And then on the other end, the charging stations will be huge distances. So there needs to be a multiple solutions. We're seeing a lot of concept cars that are talking about hydrogen. They're talking about alternative fuels. So I think that you're also going to see turbo diesel is going to be a big thing. And you're seeing the Germans have brought that into this country, but you'll start seeing that again with the U.S. manufacturers as soon as it starts to be a bigger portion of the market deciding that diesel is one of the options to purchase.
Now, Lauren, you're a true gearhead, and I mean that as a compliment in the fullest sense. What is really catching your eye regarding the new technology there at the LA Auto Show this year?
I'm seeing a lot of really interesting cars, actually. I like small cars that are real zippy. Like one of the cars that I found I actually enjoyed driving was the new Ford Fiesta. Now that's really cool because you're looking at a 1.6-liter car, and I like things that get up and go. I never want to get stuck behind a vehicle that can't get out of or in a vehicle that's can't get out of its own way. And the Fiesta is great because it comes in both 4- and 5-door, real funky colors, which I think colors are a big part. You have to love what you drive. They've sold more than 500,000 of these all across Asia. Electric power steering, onboard Ford Sync, 40 miles to the gallon. So you're getting both a fun car to drive, and these cars are going to be available very soon this summer. And actually, they're building a race version of this and a sport version. So that I am looking forward to.
Lauren, final question. Does that make you predisposed to disliking the hybrids to some degree, in that one of the main complaints about this, other than range, which we discussed, is the fact that there isn't necessarily enough pickup and acceleration when you're dealing with alternate technologies here rather than just powered by gasoline?
Well, there are some exceptions. We've seen some concepts. I know Audi had the e-tron that they showed last night. But the whole thing with that is that we are unaware of what really technology can bring. When you're looking at a concept, it's great to talk, oh, this car can do this. Like I'm standing in front of this Kia Sorento. Yeah, this is a great vehicle. But in many of these vehicles, unless they're fully gas-powered, you're not going to be able to haul a vehicle like this with a trailer. And that's one of the biggest concerns I have. I mean, people want cars that are fun to drive, they're enjoyable to own, and they want to say that I can still do what I want to do. This is the United States, and I think that's something that consumers really truly want. And when they're not getting what they want, they're not going to buy it. So we can't be told by the government what we want. We have to we will predict what the market space is. So I think that's a big part of it.
All right, Lauren Fix is the car coach joining us from the LA Auto Show out in Southern California. Lauren, great to have you with us again.
Thank you, Tyler.